All right, so it's Friday the 23rd, just about 3 o'clock, 1 minute away from it. And we are currently in a tornado warning and a severe weather watch. Basically, we've got this giant mass of just horrible weather that's heading right for us, containing high winds, hail, rain, and possibly tornadoes. So that hail could be 1 to 2 inches big, and if it does hit us, it's going to be seriously bad. We're standing up here on Jersey Ridge, which is about 200 or 300 feet above the lowest point on the ranch, and it's definitely looking pretty serene, but it also looks a little scary. That's the storm. It's heading towards us, and it's coming quick. I'm going to get in the gator because I'm tired of blowing away. So with this storm, and literally I just released our last video yesterday, which was the state of the hay, and the hay looks great. If we get a bunch of hail though, we're gonna be in a whole mess of trouble. So I can tell you, all day long has been super stressful here on the ranch. Everybody's been worried about it. We're getting vehicles put in, and everything that we can take care of, we're taking care of. We're gonna bring you guys along for some of that. But really, it's all about the hay. If the hail hits us, it is gonna knock the crap out of the hay. There's 2 things that can happen. Well, there's 3. We can get little tiny hail, which really isn't gonna make that much a difference. We can get medium hail, which might lay down the grass and might knock down some of the clover, but we'll leave it pretty much intact so we can still hay it. And then we'll get big hail, which will knock the leaves off of everything. This is all very reminiscent of a few years ago when we had grass and we were harvesting hay and a hailstorm blew through. Fields that were full of clover and alfalfa only 10 minutes ago, completely destroyed. Hundreds of acres are pounded into the ground. Stalks are broken off and left just as sticks sticking out of the ground. We've completely lost about 200 acres of alfalfa. We've also lost any clover and alfalfa that was mixed in with any of the prairie grasses. And although I don't know the specifics yet until we get out and cut some more, best guess is that with the hail, we lost about half of our hay crop, which is almost guaranteed to require us to buy hay this year. The storm hit about 5 miles away, but at home, Erin's gardens took a beating, affecting the bottom line of her produce business. And it also affects the Edible Prairie Project nonprofit weekly produce baskets. Erin's produce is slated to go into the weekly baskets that start less than 2 weeks from now, and crops, well, they're gonna be delayed. Overall, 10 minutes has changed our entire plan for the entire year. 1 cloud full of ice was all it took to cost us thousands of dollars. Depending on hay prices this year, it could be between $20,000 and $30,000 for a storm that lasted 10 minutes. That's what, $2,500 per minute, what I wouldn't give for that hourly wage. So yeah, came in the house, I'm gonna have a drink, and then I guess I'm gonna tackle the problem. We are gonna head back towards the main ranch and see what we got going on. We've got most of the vehicles put away, tractors and bobcat and pickups and all that kind of stuff, stashed inside barns because we really don't want to come back to broken windshields. But one of the problems that we have right now is animals, and especially our heifers and our new bull Max. They are down in the heifer pasture, and unfortunately, they don't have a whole lot of shelter. So we're gonna swing down and take a look at them, and hopefully they've got some place to hide. And you may think that I'm just being dramatic, especially for YouTube's sake, but we're not. This weather event, or whatever you want to call it, could literally end our haying season, which then we don't have any food to feed the cows all winter long. And to cap things off, we don't have hay insurance this year, and the reason we don't have it is because we had to buy a chunk of the ranch, and we had to basically divert every dime that we could to make payments on that. So we had to kind of forego any type of hay insurance for this year, and we were just kind of hoping that we'd be able to skirt through. This is not a death sentence. We really don't know what's going to happen. One of the good indications about this whole thing is that they have been pushing the storm back. Now, originally they said it was going to hit about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now they've pushed it back to 5. But rest assured, I'm going to keep you guys updated as we move through the day and how things are going to shake out. Along with this, the high winds, the hail, possible tornadoes, we're also scheduled or forecast to get 2 inches of rain today before midnight. So it's going to be a mess here before too long, and luckily we started preparing early. It was almost right after we finished chores this morning that we said, okay, we're going to start taking care of as much stuff as we can. So like I said, we're going to stop by the heifers. They don't really have a whole lot of places to hide out, but there are some low spots, and honestly, like, up to 2-inch hail probably isn't going to hurt the cows too much. They're going to be okay. But there's not much we can do because we are already breeding, so it's not like I can go pick up the heifers and bring them back home. I would have to actually drive them back through the cows who are farther and closer to home on the ranch. I would have to move the heifers through there, and with a bull, that's not going to work. So we're going to leave the heifers where they're at. They're young, they've got thick skin, and hopefully they're going to be okay. But we'll stop by and see how they're doing now. All right, so here are our heifers along with Max, our heifer bull, hanging out in the aptly named heifer pasture. So they should be okay down here. However, if it does really start hammering us, we will come back down here and make sure that they're okay. However, we have to do that. It might be a little tricky. The cows themselves are still in the home pasture, which means they can come right back and get into the cow shed. But for right now, they're hanging out here in the field. Cows are actually really good weather things. Weather cows. Weathermen. I can't say weathermen. They're pretty good at weather. When the storm starts to hit, I can almost guarantee you that these guys are going to head for home. And they're going to be heading right for that cow barn, which we're going to go take a look at next. The cow barn is going to be pulling double duty today. When those cows start to come back, this is where they're going to want to go and hide. But also, we're putting a few tractors in here along with the Bobcat and my pickup just to keep them out of the hail. Obviously, broken windshields and stuff like that are not going to help us out at all. The reason we're putting tractors up here in my pickup is I'm not really too worried about if cows rub on them. They're not going to be able to hurt them. Erin's car, that kind of stuff, anybody else's vehicles, we want to put them somewhere else. But the cows have plenty of room inside the cow barn to get in and out of the weather. So they're pretty lucky. Next stop for us is the sale barn, and as long as we're talking about barns, the alpacas, the goats, the donkeys, the bottle calves, they're all out right now, but as soon as the weather starts to kind of turn south, we'll end up bringing those guys in, getting them into their respective indoor areas, whether it's in the barn or in the chicken house or whatever. Same goes for chickens. They'll definitely go in once the weather hits as well. So we've got four-wheelers, the little EPP tractor, and the 4055 stashed away in here, and we've got a little bit of room so that Jeff can pull his pickup in here. If Carrie is still here at work, we'll put her pickup probably over in the shop, and that will get everything taken care of. We have one small problem still to deal with, and that is the A team and the B team. Now the A team doesn't have any shelter, the B team does. And while we're talking about it, the C team, which is our scrubs team, they do have some shelter. They can get kind of behind windbreak walls and stuff like that, so I'm not really too worried about those guys. But the A team and the B team, if something happens, they're going to get clobbered as well, and we have a very easy fix for that. So we're going to head across the road to our feedlot and get those guys all set up. On the agenda to actually build some sort of barn or windbreak or something like that for the A team, but we just haven't gotten around to it yet. So what we're going to do is actually combine the two so that they can go in the shed, and then, you know, within the next couple days we'll separate them back off so they can go back to their normal feeding patterns. So let's head over. Pigs, by the way, also have indoor shelter. They actually have a big shed they can get inside, and we have a pig project on the way. I know we built that new pig feeder. We're going to be finishing that up and getting that ready to go into permanent use. But also we are going to be moving the pigs from their current location, which is kind of down in a drainage area. We've had so much rain this spring and early summer that it's just saturated. So I want to get them somewhere else where they're up high and they can kind of get drainage off, so it's not just a big mess all the time. So that is coming up as well. I'm not sure if it's going to happen before or after haying because, well, I'm not really sure how haying is even going to go. So here we are, we're across the road. This is our feedlot, and it's time for us to open a gate. That's really all there is to it. We just have to open one gate. Also, over here on this side of the road, we have our Airbnb, which is this house here. It is occupied, but our tenants are doing something else. They're not here, so can't really talk to them. We do have a couple RVs here tonight as well. We have explained to them about the tornado warnings and the hail and all that kind of good stuff, and we do have a fallout shelter that they can take advantage of if they need to. So let's head on in here. And get this gate open so that these guys can mingle together. Hey kiddos. The feedlot is drying up a little bit. We've had a chance to get in here and clean it up a couple times, but still it's kind of a wet disaster due to the amount of rain that we've had. So what I'm going to do is just kind of get this gate open and leave it open so that they can go back and forth. Go ahead and visit your neighbors, guys. Go visit your neighbors. You too. Well, now you're on the wrong side. They're easily excitable. The C team out here, like I said, they're actually out there on the pasture right now. They can kind of get around this building. There's some pretty good eaves. They'll be able to get out of the weather as much as they can. So that is it. We are all set up. We're basically ready for the storm. But now it's time to take a look at what we can lose if there is a bunch of hail out here. And while I'm seriously hoping that this hail goes right around us or doesn't even form at all, and definitely hoping we don't have any tornadoes out of this, I would actually not be doing any justice if I didn't show you guys what we could lose if this does happen. Now I showed you all the hay fields, tons of clover, all the feed for the cows for the entire winter. It's up for stakes, and it's up for stakes today. In fact, just in the next few hours. But over here at the gardens, this could mean a whole lot more to many, many families in our community. You've heard Erin talk about EPP, the Edible Prairie Project, and 60% of what we raise in our gardens right now goes directly to that nonprofit, which Erin is the co-founder and the executive director of. Inside the high tunnels, now these are pretty safe. Unless we get some major hail, these are gonna be okay. These are actually covered structures. We hope that they'll work out. But this one has actually been supplying EPP with fresh vegetables for the last couple months. outdoor vegetables here in the middle. These guys are definitely in harm's way. Asparagus, garlic, strawberries, bunch of teas and herbs and ginger and all kinds of crazy stuff in here that could be in danger. Also the outdoor gardens, and this could be a bad thing as well. These were all planted, they're all full. We've got a full garden across the way that's all just squash, and then obviously these gardens could be destroyed today by the hail that's on the way, and that's if it hits us. These gardens are scheduled to feed hundreds of families in our communities. And unfortunately, if the hail does hit, there's not enough time in our growing season to replant them or really do anything with them. It's just going to mean the end of quite a few programs that EPP does to make sure that low-income families in our community are fed. So we're definitely hoping that the hail doesn't hit. We're really hoping that if it does, it just goes around the gardens. But, you know, in honesty, there's no way to control that. It's one of those things where you do everything you can do, and then you just sit back and wait and see, which I hate. Not good at it. Just starting to fall. It's coming down pretty heavy. We've had a couple little tiny spits of some hail. Nothing major, maybe like pea-sized hail so far. The general rule is Erin's told me that I'm allowed to come out here, but if the hail starts getting much bigger, I got to start heading towards home. We're here in the home pasture right now. Like I said, we haven't had enough hail to do any damage, but the rain is really coming down, and like I said, we were looking at about 2 inches of rain before midnight. So I'm actually out here just checking on the cows, and the calves, that's my main priority right now. So I'm going to swing up here by the cows, and the calves, we're going to see. I think that they're working their way towards home, even though they're kind of doing it in a goofy way. Hey, cows! So far this is, well, hold on, dry you off a little bit. So far this is just fine. It's completely manageable. The rain's coming down pretty hard. I'm gonna roll up my window because the rain's coming from that direction. We're gonna keep an eye on this storm as it moves through. Right now it's 4:41, and the main brunt of this storm is still on the way. The big old red patch, still, it's coming right for us. It appears that the big portion of this storm has passed. In fact, that split that I showed you on the radar that I thought might be the radar blackout is actually this, and it's going right around us. Now, I don't know what caused it. It could be the fact that we went and got ready for the storm. Seems like if you're not ready, that's when they hit the hardest. Or maybe it was that we posted to Patreon a few hours ago that this storm was coming, and I got tons of emails and even prayers asking that the storm and the hail stays away. It seemed to have worked, and I'm super happy that the gardens are still here, and it looks like all the hay is still here, but this storm is actually supposed to circle around tonight as the sun goes down. We're gonna kind of ride the night out and see what it looks like in the morning. So I'll bring you guys back out here and we'll take a look. In the meantime, get a little bit of rest, and I'll see you for work bright and early. Good morning, guys. We're heading out to check on how the fields fared through all this, but what I'm seeing is really nothing. The way that storm split above us was pretty much the best case scenario at this point. We didn't really get all that much rain out of it either. We were supposed to get up to 2 inches. We ended up with just about 1/3 of an inch, which is just fine. That's enough rain for us for the night. We don't really need much more than that. So we're starting to gear up for haying. We have some of the equipment pulled out. We're starting to work on the sickles, on the mower, putting new sickles on, making sure that we're ready to go. However, I don't think we're going to be haying until probably next week because we have about another inch of rain on the way. Hopefully no more of those severe storms, but you know, you never know. So we're going to have to kind of deal with what we get. We get what we get, and we try not to throw a fit. Also, down at NARM, North Antelope Rochelle Mine, we've gotten further reports out of there. About 8 people are injured. This is a look of the at the tornado that actually went through there, and some of the damage that was done by that tornado. It actually made national news. Not a good situation for those guys. NARM is one of the, if not the largest coal mine in the United States. So a lot of people were in danger. There's really nowhere to go out there. Luckily, everybody seems to be okay. Like I said, 8 people were transported to the hospital, no fatalities. So that's the best case scenario. So as we head out to take a look at these hay fields, really no change. Everything looks pretty good. We've got ton of sunshine today, warm weather, temperature is 72 degrees. So everything looks good, everybody looks happy, and haying, thankfully, is still a go. And the hope is over the next week, this stuff will continue to grow and basically, hopefully, give us a bumper hay harvest. We're going for that 500 bales like I talked about in the previous video. That's our goal. We'll see if we actually get there. In the meantime, keep everybody in your thoughts and prayers that did have to deal with a majority of this storm. Like I said, it went around us, but there were a lot of people out there that weren't so lucky as it swept through northeastern Wyoming. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and hopefully they'll be able to recover and get a little hay for themselves. As always, thanks for joining us as we explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary. Be sure to subscribe, follow along. Haying's on the way. Lots of equipment, lots of breakdowns. Hopefully not that many, but there will be a few. We'll be able to bring you guys along for all of that. And it's all on the way on Our Wyoming Life.